This is very well deserved. Guys, welcome back into yet another video. In this particular video here, y'all, I wanted to react to a comment that I received on one of my videos. This particular comment, I read through it and I kind of just wanted it to share it within a video, share my thoughts on it, because I felt as though it was definitely deserving of my attention when it came to this. And I want to highlight the comment that I got and I received, and I thought this was very well done and it was very well received by myself. And like I said, I just wanted to share it with everybody and share it amongst the people who may not have went through the comments and looked at it. I thought this needed to be highlighted. Before we get into it though, guys, you already know the deal. Guys, if you enjoy the content that's being produced on this channel, go ahead and feel free to hit that thumbs up button, that like button, as well as subscribe to the channel. Those two things work in tandem, as they don't cost you a goddamn dime to do either of them. But what they do is help the channel grow and they help us be seen to more people. So those of you that do those things for me, I appreciate you guys and thank you. Last but not least, guys, go ahead and share the content as well as hit the notification bell for yourselves so you guys are aware of every time anything and everything is dropped on this channel. So without further fucking ado, let's get into it. All right, guys, I wanted to highlight this because I read through it and it touched my soul, right? It really did. It really got me to thinking, like, I wish this was most people's thoughts. I wish this was the thoughts of majority of the people that I try to touch with my videos, my different explanations on things and stuff like that. Like, sometimes, yes, I could come off very harsh, very direct, very, out there. But that's because I may be irritated with some of the things that people say in terms of like just the overall stupidity of a lot of what people say and a lot of what people are not understanding or comprehension skills, their lack thereof. That stuff sometimes irritates me because I'm like, it's plain as day. The story was written out plain as day. There's no way you can't tell me you didn't get this. Like, you can't logically tell me like this was a great story. Like, there's no fucking way you can tell me that. And this is in reference to Attack on Titan, guys. But this particular commenter here wrote this piece out to me, and I felt as though it was deserving of a highlight. And what I mean by a highlight is deserving of a video. Because I want to read this and I want to kind of give my thoughts on it. Because when I first read it, I had thoughts on it and I said it, but I never expressed those thoughts. So I want to give this person basically the floor, give this person the flowers that they deserve regarding this particular comment that they provided me. And I'm going to read it off to you guys and give you guys my thoughts on it. And we're just going to go from there. So like I said, it's going to be kind of a different video, but I felt as though this needed to be highlighted. So enough of my talking, enough of my rambling. Let's get into this and let's share this with the world, shall we? All right, this is from YNLN7318. So, they responded to me by stating this. They say, "Hi, Lord Dragunov. Hello. I just want to say, out of all the ending haters, you are one of the most logical." Man, I appreciate that. "And you really do have a lot of good points, same as Brown's Magic." Shout out to Brown's Magic, Odin, and Saint Chief. Shout out to you guys. "I have been watching you guys for a while, and I do that because I do enjoy your videos for some reason. I have to say, because I am on my end was the Alliance side before." So they were on the Alliance side, which is there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with not being on the Alliance side, for sure. "But in terms of the ending, when I heard about it and knew about it, I was one of those who were in the middle. I didn't really know how to feel about it. I didn't hate it, but I was just okay with it. Disclaimer, I'm an anime only, but I was able to read chapter 139 only." Cool. So this is an anime only individual. They just only saw the anime. "Also, another disclaimer, I'm afraid to speak up my mind because I really don't like arguments. In fact, I am scared of being attacked because the ending defenders can be mad crazy, and I suspect it won't be good for my health being stressed about it, and since I am pregnant. Well, congratulations on your pregnancy. I hope everything works out. Hope you have a healthy baby and everything like that. So again, congratulations, sincerely. But yeah, I can understand that. I can, because a lot of them are very, they think they know too much. Like, I get it. Like, I'm not really like an argument person. I can debate all day, make up valid points and things like that. Like, I'd rather debate than argue, because when you're in an argument, everybody's emotions is running high and you're not getting anything done. A debate is very much more concise, is more, ground level, and you can have a conversation where people, at least evaluate their points and make their points known and stuff like that. And you can then kind of address it from there. I can understand that of you not wanting to do that, because a lot of these folks, as I see it, I will say don't be afraid of it, but they can get out of hand because they think they know what they're talking about, and they actually don't. Once you show facts, because the way I do it, the way I'm so logical about it, is because I'm going to use the story that was written for us against them. You can't argue the story. Like, you can't argue with facts. You can have opinions all day long. Well, in my opinion, I thought it was this way. They can have this shit all day long, but in reality, they can't argue what the facts are. You know what I mean? Of what we were presented. Because once we give them facts and you show them facts, they back down. Because they know, like, damn, I can't argue with the same story that I'm trying to fucking defend. I can't argue it because it was, it's indefensible. But I do want to say that I admit I was wrong. Wow. That's bold. Most people won't do that. So for you to do that, kudos to you, because most people aren't going to say that. Most individuals are not going to admit, like, you know what, that's my bad. I'm a type person who I'll take it on the chin. Hey, man, I was wrong. It's my bad. But that shows the type of character you are to admit that. And I appreciate it. And I understand why you guys hated the ending of Attack on Titan. But to be honest, I still love Attack on Titan as a whole. I am still in love with the characters, but that's just me. But I don't agree with the ending was a masterpiece. I can respect that. A lot of people are still going to like the end, not like the ending per se, but they're still going to like the characters because, again, it was a big part of people's lives. So being as how it's, mostly if you started off with it, 10 years of your life, watching it. It came out in 2013? That's when the anime came out, in like 2013, something like that, I believe. So it's been 10 fucking years, so you literally putting yourself or diving deep into something for 10 years, that's a long time. So naturally you are going to connect emotionally with the characters, with the story and stuff like that. So then with the animation itself, the soundtrack, all of that stuff, that's going to get you. So that's understandable. I know I still fucks with the soundtrack for sure. I still like it. I still like certain aspects of Attack on Titan, but I cannot in good faith recommend Attack on Titan to anybody and say that it was a great show or whatever that may be, because the only reason being is because if the ending was like it just kind of just ended, right? Let's say there was no resolve to anything, nothing happened, and he just, ended or whatever. Then at that point, I would be more inclined to say, hey, you can watch it. It's very open-ended to what happens. We don't know if Eren died or if Eren's alive, or we don't know, if the Alliance is dead or alive. Like if it was something like genuinely like that, then sure, I could still recommend it. But the fact of the way that it ended, it literally shit on all the great scenes and the foreshadowing and the sequences that were leading up to that. It just shit on it. And that's why I say it now makes the whole story unreadable for me and undigestible. But I get that. I respect that. I realized the reason why I was okay with the ending was because, one, I didn't really pay much attention to Eren's character simply because he was not my favorite. That's understandable. My favorite characters are in the Alliance. Okay, so you like, Connie, Jean, Mikasa, Armin, and them. Okay, nothing wrong with that. I didn't really pay attention to the real themes of AOT and the real meaning behind the story, which is freedom, as one of them. It's because a lot of things do happen in AOT, and you can get overwhelmed, mind blown, and can easily get lost in the story. Therefore, it's easy to get distracted from what the story truly is. Couldn't have said it better myself. Excellent point. And that's where a lot of other anime onlys fail to see. They fail to see what you saw. You've woken up to the fact of like, hey, look, I still like the show. I can still say that the show is cool and I still enjoy it. But the reality of it is that the stories did not make sense. There are key elements in the story that just didn't make sense. And when you have that, that means you have great deduction skills. You're using critical thinking skills. You're like, man, this don't add up. Because what you've done is you've taken your emotions out of it. And you've digested the story in a more logical, grounded sense. And that's all that I'm asking anybody to do. I'm just asking people to take their emotions out of it, their biasness out of it, and ground themselves in reality and look at it from an objective lens of saying, this don't seem right. This doesn't make sense. Why was this all foreshadowed throughout, but then all of a sudden at the very last second, it's like, oh, sorry, no, I was lying. Like, that's bad writing. You know what I'm saying? So, but you're absolutely right, too. When it comes to the Attack on Titan as a whole, it can be very overwhelming. It can be very in your face. Very much a lot is happening. And especially if you're an anime-only watcher, you're only going to be watching it based off of when that stretch of that season is presented to you. So again, I knew about the ending based upon the manga for 2 years, since 2001. So I knew how it was going to end for 2 fucking years. So within that time frame, you had to wait that long for it to be adapted. So naturally, a lot of the things that, again, led up to that point were forgotten and lost in translation because of the simple fact it's been so long. Like, fuck, man. So, but again, you seen that. You understand that. You're like, a whole bunch of shit is happening. You can easily get lost. You can easily get lost in the sauce. Which is a logical fucking point. Like I said, I couldn't agree with it better myself. And then I just got curious because I myself was actually kind of feeling off about the ending itself. And I just decided to hear you guys out, and I realized you guys were right and I was wrong. I didn't know why I did not notice that Eren and Mikasa never had a romantic connection prior to 139. Maybe because in my head, I was an Eren Mika stan. While I do ship those two, I will leave the space for fan fiction only. Respectable answer. That's the thing. It's like, you can ship them. That's fine if that's what you want to do. Me personally, I'm not one of those people to where I'm going to view that as a priority, if you will. Like for me, I look at what the main themes of the story is about. The main themes of the story was not about love. The main themes of the story had nothing to do with love. The main themes of the story were that they felt as though they were cattle. I mean, that's the first fucking sequence when he's like, everything changed that day. When you see the colossal titan peeking over the thing. It had nothing to do with love, had nothing to do with that. Not saying that love and the aspect of love was not present throughout the series as far as certain people's actions towards one another. Not saying that. But the focal point of the story was not about love. It was not about Eren and Mikasa being together. Hell, it wasn't even about Eren and Historia being together. It had nothing to do with any of that. The main story was about, the primary focus was about freedom and how, what would you do in that particular scenario with your back against the wall, with no choice pretty much. Are you willing to do these things? Are you willing to sacrifice, certain morals to get the job done? All of those things were in the story and encompassed Attack on Titan. None of it had nothing to do with no love, romantic infatuation with nobody. But they just shoehorned it in the very end, and it's like, this makes no fucking sense. This is terrible fucking writing. So, yeah, it was just terrible. It was fucking terrible. when I watched the last episode of AOT, I just felt bad when Aaron said that he was a garden variety idiot who gained so much power. I just felt really bad. I've never seen a character who was so massacred in history. I mean, Aaron's character was already killed in 139 in the 139 manga, but his character was just massacred in the anime. And I wonder how did Nappa think it was better. Hey, beats me. Beats the fuck out of me. Like it beats me. Like it really was. It's his character. His character was truly assassinated. It was truly lost, and that was very disappointing to me because I thought Aaron was one of the most intriguing and interesting characters ever written. You know what I mean? Like I held it in a high fucking praise. But when it got down to this, like, it was terrible. Like, again, I say this and I'll reiterate. I said it in the previous video. I'll say it again. I personally think that Attack on Titan should have ended at chapter 122. If Attack on Titan ended at 122, I would have been happy. I think everything would have just been perfect. Like they could have went in like after like maybe like around maybe make a chapter of like 123 where it kind of like summarized what kind of happened towards the end and stuff like that of the different characters and what happened to them. But I think for the most part it never should have went that far because we already knew once he activated that rumbling, they wasn't stopping him. There was no way they were going to stop him. But they wrote it in a way to where he wanted them the Alliance to be the Avengers or whatever. Like, who knows? But it was Jesus. Yeah. Who fucking knows? I don't know why they thought it was better. I mean, they did Armin better in the anime, although it isn't true because I don't agree Armin having to do anything with the rumbling just because he showed Aaron his damn book. Agreed. They wanted to paint the picture like, oh, we're together in this, me and Aaron. It was my fault, Aaron, that I showed you this book. So since I showed you the book, you know, depicting what was in the book, I know they just drove you to do crazy stuff and things of that nature. And that's not fucking true. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, it's one of those things to where, like, the main problem and the main issue is not that I showed you the book. It's the fact that there were people that were actively trying to kill us. They were actively trying to kill us. So, yes, the book was a false interpretation of life because, again, the book was a lie, right? So, once you found out the truth of that there were people outside, plus the brutality of how they were, plus the hostility of how they were, and how war and fighting was constantly going on, that made you disappointed, right? And that's very true. I'll be disappointed too. Like, damn, I'm thinking we're the only people left in the world, but then I find out that humans are here, but these humans fucking hate us. They want us dead for something that happened thousands of years ago. That's crazy, right? And now I have to do what I need to do to protect my friends, to protect my family, protect my island, right? So that was what it pretty much boiled down to. So I agree. I don't think Armin is to blame whatsoever. I think that was just, again, damage control. Because in the manga, as you read, you know it was worse, where he was like, hey, thanks, buddy, for committing this mass atrocity for us. I appreciate that. Like, it was just terrible fucking writing. The only thing I do agree with you, yeah, they did Armin's character better in the sense of his reaction towards learning that 80% was killed. So learning that, I agree, it was so much better, way better done. His voice actor, kudos, because it portrayed it to where it was like, damn, why did you have to go this far? We could have turned back. We could have stopped. What the fuck were you thinking? That word was what was better about it. Because in 139, he just casually mentioned that shit. Like, yo, bro, hey, I ain't going to be able to retaliate. 80% of the motherfuckers dead. And Armin was like, oh, my goodness. And Aaron was like, all right, come on, let's go. Okay. That's literally what it was. But in this one, it was more like, bro, like, what the fuck? Like, personally, how I would have written it would have been when Armin punched him, I wouldn't have punched him for the Mikasa. Fuck that. He should have punched him when he said 80% was killed. That's when he should have punched him and then grabbed him and then was like, what the fuck? Why? What the hell? And then Aaron's response would have been like, I already told you guys why. It's to protect you guys, to protect the island. That's why I did it. Because we had no choice in the matter. I was not going to stand and allow Paradise's fate to be left up to chance. That should have been his fucking response. Not, oh, I'm stupid, I'm an idiot, I have no idea. Like, this fucking dumb. But anyway, let's keep it going. Armin would never have known that Aaron would turn out the way he did. True. If Armin knew that, he would have never shown his book and tell him about the wonders of the outside world. Agreed. I 100% agree with that. With regards to Aaron, I don't even know what to say. I just feel bad. I don't know why he can't just say he did the rumbling to save Paradise and to protect his friends and loved ones. I don't want to hate on the ending defenders. If they love the ending, that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, but they shouldn't be attacking those that hated the ending if AOT just because they are willing to defend AOT with their lives, just because they are afraid to admit that there's something wrong with it. That being said, I wish for them to evaluate themselves and their biases and just try to hear you guys out. I mean, I agree with that. And I appreciate the sentiment. I definitely do. I definitely appreciate that. And that's all we're trying to say. That's all that we're saying. Like, just listen to the points that we're making. Just literally listen. Like, don't be so willing to defend it. Like you said about their biases, don't be just so willing to just jump if anytime we say, you know what, Attack on Titan wasn't that good. What the fuck you mean wasn't that good? Like, don't be so willing to do that. Understand and look at, okay, you said it's not good. Why do you say it's not good? And then listen to the points that are being made as to why it's not good. And then at that point, make your own assessment. Listen to it and make your own logical assessment of that, of what was presented to you. Be like, you know what, you might be right. You might be on to something. But see, they're not going to be willing to do that. That's the problem. They're not willing to do that. No, none of them are. You are, besides other people who have maybe posted videos in terms of being anime only, you're the first person that has ever sent a comment such as this that I've ever seen. And that's why I felt as though this needed to be highlighted, because I appreciate this. I appreciate you standing up and saying, you know what, I was an anime only. And I literally viewed this and I had to take a step back and say, what the fuck am I watching? Right? You know, and that's just all that's all that I've ever asked, for sure. You know what I mean? There are certain people who are just shitting on Attack on Titan just to shit on it, but I want you to have, I want to be a consummate professional about it also, and just point out facts of the story and just be honest about it and say, hey, it was not a masterpiece and by no means was it perfect. No means at all was it a perfect fucking ending. Like, it's just one of those things to where it wasn't that good. It just really wasn't. And there were a lot of holes and a lot of issues with it, and a lot of people who were anime onlys, as you said, were distracted by the story, distracted by what was going on, distracted by the animation, distracted by the soundtrack, distracted on how it made you feel. You know what I mean? Like, it's possible for that to happen. Hell, like I said, it happened to me. I said this in another video, but it happened to me to where when he was there and he was explaining it and shit, like it was like, damn, you know, this is good. I literally started to question, like, do I actually like this part on the show where he's explaining to Armin what's happening and shit, and he mentioned the whole idiot part? That shit kind of phased over me because I was listening to what? The soundtrack, how it made me feel. How the voice actor was talking in such a somber way. Like, damn, why did all this have to happen? I was doing this to try to protect you guys, but I failed. Why did this happen? Like, that was like, damn. And then you had the piano in the background swelling up and shit. Good soundtrack. It gets you in the feels. It makes you feel like, damn, this is crazy.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But then I had to rewatch it and reassess and be like, oh, that's kind of fucking stupid. I came back to reality. So it can happen to the best of us. It happened to me. But this is all that I ask. I ask for people to reevaluate and reassess what they actually saw. Don't let the animation and don't let the graphics and don't let all this shit fool you. Look at the story for what it was and make your assessment there. You know what I'm saying? That's what I look at. You did your part, you listened to them. They should be fair and do the same thing as well. I myself love AOT, and it's the only anime that I've really loved. But I can't help but see where it fell apart. It's so easy to get distracted because of a lot of things that were happening. A lot of scenes were mind blowing, and on top of that, the animation and the music is top notch. Agreed. Just mentioned it, yeah. But narration wise, there's where it fell apart. The animators did their part. Mappa did one hell of a good job, but the story just wasn't it. I agree. The animation was on point. It was chef's kiss. It's phenomenal. But yeah, don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. I don't have to elaborate on what I didn't like about the ending because it is mostly on Aaron's, and you've already summarized and explained in detail what you guys didn't like about the ending, and that's pretty much where I stand. And I wish for everyone to reevaluate themselves and their understanding of the AOT story, that they might be missing the most important points like I did. Hey, beautiful. Eloquently put, man. As I said, I felt the need to have to highlight that particular comment right there because it was perfectly put. And again, she was an anime only, but she was like, you know what? Let me reevaluate and let me reassess some things. Let me look at this not from a biased perspective, but from a logical perspective, and to look at it for what the story was, not what the animation or how it made me feel and how the how the soundtrack made me feel and all that stuff. What was the story? What happened? And she came to the same conclusion that, much like me and much like a lot of other individuals came to, that it had problems. It had a lot of issues. And that's all that I've ever been trying to say. Like, you guys, you pseudo-intellectuals who try to want to have these, weird-ass explanations as to why the anime was this and the anime was that and things of that nature, you guys need to really reassess and really need to reread the anime. You guys really need to I think you guys need to read it, because I think reading it'll put it in a little bit more of a perspective to where you're actually going to be looking at it for the words, and you're going to get the story, and the story is what is being driven, not the animation, not the soundtrack, not the voice acting, none of that. It's the words that are being said, and you yourself are taking that in. Like, I think that's what needs to happen, because I really 100% believe that you guys forgot. I believe that you guys forgot a lot of key dialogue in the story that was already answered, but then was shit on in the very last episode or chapter, right? So it's just one of those things to where, like, I truly believe that's what you guys need to do. And again, I appreciate this commenter. I appreciate them. I appreciate this commenter for actually admitting, like, you know what, maybe I'm looking at this from the wrong perspective. Let me take myself out of the story, out of Attack on Titan, because of my emotional love for it, and let me actually reassess this. Let me actually look at this from an objective lens here. And when you do that, things start to add up that are like, whoa, hold on here. Aaron already said that he wasn't this type of character. Why all of a sudden is this? Oh, hold on. If he cares so much about his friends, why did he put them in a situation in which he himself admitted he didn't know if they were going to survive? Whoa, that don't make sense. So why did Ymir pick Mikasa out of everybody over this 2,000 year period when their stories do not parallel whatsoever? Whoa. And when asked about that, only she knows, but there's no explanation as to how or why. That's weird. There was no evidence to show that Ymir actually even loved King Fritz, but yet all of a sudden she did? Whoa. Strange. Crazy. Aaron showed no signs of romantic feelings for Mikasa at all throughout the entirety of the show, but now randomly he just is in love with her, madly in love with her, where he wants her to pine over him for 10 years. Oh, that's crazy. That's weird. If you truly wanted to protect your friends from the issues of the outside force that was inevitably going to kill you guys, wouldn't you just go through with 100%? Right? When you just kill 100% to guarantee their safety, yeah, there may be civil war breakout within the island, but that's one thing that I have to worry about instead of having to worry about that and the rest of the fucking world. That's crazy. Just saying. Things like that will start opening up to you. Those type of thoughts will start to encompass your thought process once you take your emotional self out of Attack on Titan. Once you take that. Because again, we all fall for it. Damn, I admit I almost fell for it until I had to rewatch the scene again and understand, like, he's saying I'm just an idiot. That's the reason why this happened. I didn't know what I was doing. My head was fucked up. I was an idiot. So, yeah, this is what you get. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible writing. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for me. As I said, I appreciate the comment. YNLN. I hope I'm not butchering that, but I appreciate you for your comment. I wanted to highlight that comment because what you just reiterated to me is something that I've been trying to do for ever since I've been putting out this. This is what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to get individuals to understand that, yes, you can still love the anime. There's nothing wrong with that. You can still have your thoughts about it. But just take yourself out of it. Don't look at it from an emotional or a biased lens, and look at it in an objective sense and say, does the story actually add up? Does it actually make sense? And once you do that and you put it together and you put all these things together, you soon start to realize it falls apart. So, again, appreciate you. Thank you. Guys, y'all already know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the content, hit the notification bell, and guys, go ahead and comment down below. Much like she did, please comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know if, hey, you agree with everything that she said, plus myself, and agree with what we said, or if you disagree. That's fine. You can disagree with what we said too. I would love to hear from you. Again, congratulations on your pregnancy. I hope you have a healthy baby and a healthy life. A long life, as Aaron wished for his people. But I actually genuinely wish it for you and your family. Guys, with that being said, I will bid you adieu. And I will see you guys in the next one. I'm out.